Hi, my name is Steve Fulton and welcome to Real Magic Review, and today I'm going to be reviewing Mark Elsdon, ZOOMentalism, Conversation as Mentalism. So before we do the review, can you please like, please subscribe, please share, that'd be lovely, and check out cardmagiccourse.com. I've now put a new page up there with a blog on it and everything. I'm really proud of myself because I've been wanting to do it for so long. So you will get more information on the course when you go to cardmagiccourse.com. So have a look at it. So Mark Elsdon released these PDFs or booklets. I think they're booklets or PDFs. Excuse me, I'm not sure whether they were both or not. Anyway, irrelevant. But his stuff on conversation as mentalism, which was sort of camera-based tricks. And now he's kind of retooled them, got some together and chosen the best ones for Zoom because of the situation we find ourselves currently in. And it's very welcome. There are a lot of people doing magic on Zoom, doing magic online, and that is a good thing. It's a healthy thing, but I think we need stuff like this to kind of, and me, you know, I've done a lot of stuff online, but I'm always looking for people to help me, to guide me, and to do the thinking for me sometimes, because we're so overwhelmed, some of us. So it's been really, well, I was excited about reading it. I was also slightly trepidatious as well, because this is stuff that he says doesn't require any props, doesn't require much of anything. So yes, it might be bits of paper, might be a phone, no apps or anything like that, but it might be that they write something on their phone. But it's mostly conversational stuff. And when I do read that, I do kind of, there's a lot of stuff that claims to be brilliant that's just about conversation, and you look at it and go, yeah, it's kind of all right, but nobody's really going to buy it. So I was worried it was going to be a book full of that, and don't worry, it isn't. It's not perfect, but it isn't that. So first of all, it's got a really, really interesting introduction by Gideon Livner. I think that's the pronunciation, and Mark, of course. And Gideon talks about is inspired by Ken Webber's Maximum Entertainment, and he kind of adapts that a little bit, or some rules from that for this introduction, which I found was really interesting. And even from then, I was kind of going, yeah, I haven't really thought about it that way. So I really suggest reading that. And this PDF really isn't just about the tricks in it. I found that there was a lot of stuff peppered through it. There was a lot of things that me as a kind of, yes, I kind of do a little bit of mentalism, but I still got a lot from the presentational ideas, the premises, the way you can make this thing sound interesting, the emphasizing certain things. And we know that as magicians, some of us, and mentalists, but it's always good to hear more. And I did learn more than just the routines. So the first few routines, I was kind of like, okay, it's good, it's fun. For me, they felt a little bit more like fun things to do to build up to the big stuff, like we do in a lot of our performance. There's nothing wrong with that, but I was kind of going, is the whole book just going to be these kind of processes that get everybody involved, brilliant, make everybody do something that's really good fun, and then you have this revelation at the end, which is great, but maybe there'll be a little bit of, okay, but there was a lot of process there. We were obviously all going to end up in that place, and that's fine, all great, lovely. But then it started getting into some more serious stuff, and it almost works like a show itself, because like I say, in a show we do start off with some openers, don't we, that might not be that hard hitting. And I know some people say that you've got to do a really hard hitting opener, but I sometimes like to go in gentle, and it kind of does that with this book. And then by the time we kind of get him to about a third into it, I then go, that's really clever. So I think the first thing that really got me was this kind of Dream On. It was a one-head principle. It's I'm sure I'm okay saying that, but just flipped on its head a little bit and just given some more justification for the bits in those routines that use that method that many mentalists know that are a bit icky and sticky, and especially if you're working remotely, you can't use body language and stuff to cover things. So it kind of, there's still arguably a little bit at the end where it changes rhythm, and for those of you, I'm sorry that's not going to make much sense, but for those of you who know what I mean, it kind of does that, but less so, and it justifies a lot of the sticky bits in those routines. But it's this book test that got me. This year's book, it's called, and talks about how a book test isn't really a book test, it's a word test, and this is all about you having an imaginary book in your hand, reading out your favourite 10 words from the book that happen to be from a book, and they just choose one of those 10 words you've written. They don't tell you clearly, and with a little bit of fishing you can get what word they've got. But it's really, I realised how powerful this was the more I was reading it, and especially with Zoom, because you've got nothing there and you know what word they get, and the fishing you do for it is really convincing. And there's just, I mean, if I saw that, it would completely and utterly fool me. There's just no way I would have known. So really, really good stuff. Then you've got this 62 pence, which is another really clever idea based on the change they've got in their pockets. And when I see that, I sometimes, and there's a lot of the change in pocket routines, aren't there? And I think some of them require a bit of a leap of faith. This one completely makes sense. It works on a really clever principle. And I thought, I can imagine doing it and it not being just, oh, that was interesting. It being actually, you know, the fact that you've got 3 different coins, they get 3 different coins out. You turn your back, you then give them a few instructions which seem completely fair. You then say, put the one on the left in your pocket, so it becomes a kind of free will thing. And then you tell them what coin they've got in each pocket. There's a good presentation around this, but then you match the date on that coin with the coin you have in your pocket. For me, there's just no way they can reverse engineer that. So now we're getting into things. I'm starting to see things that I think I could do that would establish me as not just someone who does some really cool party tricks. So I'm only giving you my highlights here, but there wasn't any shockers in here. I think you're going to get a lot of value from this. One for the road was one of my favourite things in it. You have an imaginary drinking game. Everybody writes the name of a drink on their hand, and you get to a point where you've predicted the final drink. Everybody downs a drink or pretends to down one of the drinks on their hand that's written down. Obviously, you don't actually want to do this, but I don't know, maybe in certain situations. But you get this lovely physicality with people writing on their hands, pretending to drink drinks, and you're left with one drink and you've predicted the last drink. And one more thing I'll just mention is this Envy thing by Ran Pink, which is a really nice way of making it look like you can influence people genuinely. I know there's a lot of these pseudo explanations, but this is totally, you say to someone, any 2 numbers between 1 and 50, I knew you were going to say those because look at this. And it kind of reminded me of that, you know, the famous Darren Brown thing that every layperson says to you. How did he do that thing with the marketers and the advertisers? And he claims to know what logo they were going to come up with. And it kind of works in that same way, but very quick, a very good opener, and just establishes you. And pretty much 99% hit rate, and if you don't get it, you can totally cover it. So what's good about this? A lot of routines that don't require many props require some kind of mental gymnastics, which I'm not very good at. And there wasn't anything, there was a couple of memory things, but guess what? You're on Zoom, all right? So there was one bit with one routine which says you've got to remember these 8 things, which isn't a problem, but if you're first performer, you might be worried about that. You don't have to remember them. Cribbing on Zoom is very, very easy. All right, so do yourself a favour. Don't make it difficult for yourself. So mostly very easy. A couple of numbers things that probably I would struggle with, but nobody else would. I mean, a child would, and I do have a child's brain with numbers, and I don't like even dealing with numbers at all when performing. So if you like that, there'll be maybe 1 or 2 things that you won't want to do, but again, not really a problem. The main good thing about this is the routines you'll take from it. There are some genuinely strong routines, and it will improve you as a digital online performer, you know, because we are becoming that. A lot of us have to become that. And I'm not really interested in doing a lot of magic online because a lot of it is misdirection things, but we do have to adapt and be flexible, and this will help you do that. And there's some great stuff. Advice at the beginning and end of this as well, and some brilliant resources as well. Mark's very good at crediting. You know, he knows his books, he knows his stuff, and he's credited really, really well, and provided you with loads of links to external sources to enhance the routines that you'll do. And by the way, the book test, there's a version of it around the movie 7, which is one of my favourite movies, which is worth looking at. But then he gives you a resource to make your own versions of it, which is, again, really, really worthwhile. On the challenging side of it, there were a few routines that I think I didn't really think would play strongly per se on their own, but as a build-up, I think they would, and as part of a bigger thing, which I think he probably knows very well, you know. And you are going to have to perform, you know, this stuff. And very importantly, you know, you're doing stuff verbally with body language and things like that. You're going to have to be engaging, be personable, be likable. But that's what we should be anyway, right? Thank you very much. That's ZOOMentalism by Mark Elsdon. All the links will be below. Please do check them out and have a look at all the other stuff down there as well. Check out cardmagiccourse.com. Please like, subscribe, stay safe, and have a great one. Cheers.